On our wedding anniversary, my wife shamelessly got me wasted. At 2 in the morning, I was jolted awake by her soft, kitten-like moans. I never could have imagined that after our long journey, from school uniforms to a wedding veil, she would repay my devotion with a filthy betrayal on our anniversary. Caught red-handed in her infidelity, my wife actually had the audacity to demand a divorce. Just try to grab the 100,000 in our savings, she sneered, because I won't give you a single cent. Hearing those words, I simply nodded, refusing to cause a scene or throw a fit. Instead, I double-locked those two scumbags inside the bedroom. I calmly pulled out my phone and blasted a message into Lu Ruyan's family group chat. I need every elder and family member at my house immediately. Rihanna and I have something critical to discuss with everyone. My mother-in-law was quick to snap back. You think everyone is as unemployed and idle as you? Stop wasting our time. Done with this nonsense. Seeing her dismissive reply, rage boiled in my chest as I shot back. I am giving you exactly 15 minutes. If you do not show up, I will let the whole world witness exactly what happened tonight. Though I am tempted to drag Lu Ruyan down to hell with me, dying together is far too merciful. Compared to a quick strike of a blade, crushing someone's soul inflicts a much more agonizing brand of torment. Half an hour later, every single relative of Lu Ruyan's clan had descended upon my home. Taking the lead, my father-in-law spoke first. Up first, Xiao Shang, what on earth is going on today? It is the middle of the night, yet you insisted on dragging all the family elders out here. Facing their bewildered glares, I let out a bitter laugh and swung the bedroom door wide open, declaring, please take a good look at the precious daughter of your Lu family. Right then, Lu Ruyan's face turned deathly pale, even though she had already scrambled back into her clothes. At 3 in the morning, a lone man and woman trapped in a room Togathervan, an idiot could guess the filth they had been up to. But before I could say another word, Lu Ruyan went on the offensive first. You are nothing but a pathetic, useless loser who cannot even hold down a decent job, spending every waking moment tinkering with that junk computer, earning a pathetic $200 a day. Aren't you utterly ashamed of yourself? This entire household rests solely on my shoulders. The moment those words left her mouth, my father-in-law bellowed in a fit of rage. What kind of absolute garbage are you spewing? Have you no sense of decency left? Lu Ruyan's father was a retired professor, a man who prized reputation above all else. But within the Lu clan, he never held any real authority. At the end of the day, he was just a live-in son-in-law himself. Even his daughter carried his wife's family name. How much of a voice could a man like that actually have? Sure enough, before the old man could even finish his sentence, Lu Ruyan's mother lunged forward, shrieking at the top of her lungs. My family refuses to provide for a worthless bum like you. I am the one who paid for every inch of these renovations. Could your dirt-poor relatives ever scrape that kind of money together? No good deed goes unpunished. Now pack your trash and get the hell out. Upon hearing those venomous words, I cut her off with a sharp, chilling sneer. What a touching performance. My dear mother-in-law truly is a piece of work. Don't worry, I will leave. But I have one non-negotiable demand. The house, the car, the money. I don't want any of it. Don't give me a single cent. Just give me yuan. The old hag didn't hesitate to bark back a refusal. You want my precious grandson? Not a chance in hell. He is the one who carries our family bloodline. Lu Ruyan's mother had shut me down with brutal finality. After all, I have been an orphan since I was a child, so ever since my son was born, the Lu family has been raising him. This situation actually lines up perfectly with my expectations. A family like the Lias, obsessed with male heirs to such an extreme, would never surrender the child so easily. As things stand, my only option is to let a lawyer handle this in court. However, I am feeling pretty confident. No matter how they fight it, I am destined to win. There is no way a judge would grant custody to a cheating woman like her. We are going to the Civil Affairs Bureau tomorrow. Expect my lawyer to be in touch with you shortly. After dropping that bombshell, I gripped a heavy wooden club and brandished it right in front of me. The message was crystal clear. I was kicking every single one of them out. The crowd instantly scrambled like headless chickens, frantic to escape. Finally, only I, Lu Ruyan, and her parents remained. In the tense silence, Lu Ruyan stared at me, her face contorted and ashen, as a chilling sense of estrangement began to sink into her heart. Meanwhile, her pathetic little side piece had already seized the chaos and vanished into the night without a trace. Looking utterly helpless and cornered, she finally stammered, "Are you really going through with this? Are you actually serious right now? Listen, Xiao Shang, whatever the problem is, we are family. Let's just settle this behind closed doors. There is no need to make ourselves a laughingstock for the neighbors." My father-in-law began to chime in with his soft-spoken persuasion. If this were the old me, I would have surely taken the bait and just let the whole thing slide. But times have changed. Not a single person in this room ever gave a damn about my well-being, including this professional mediator of a son-in-law. Seeing my stubborn silence, Lu Ruyan's mother lost her patience and began to bark. Yang Yang, Fine, you want a divorce, you can have it, but first, you are signing a formal agreement. In that contract, you will state that the car, the house, the savings, and yuan all belong to Ruyan. Hearing that, I bolted upright, grabbing that old hag by the collar as I roared with fury. I am going to repeat this one last time for you vultures, the car, the house, and the money, you can have it all. But Yuan is my son, and he is staying with me. Do you finally understand me now? Shang Yang, get your hands off her. That is my mother you are touching. Lu Ruyan lunged at me, clawing and screaming. But I sent her reeling with a thunderous slap that sent her crashing onto the floor. The old man couldn't bear to watch any longer and stepped forward to lecture me. Xiao Shang, listen. A true gentleman uses his words, not his fists. We live in a civilized society. If you injure someone, you will end up behind bars. If you have a shred of respect left for me as your father, then let her go this instant. I slowly turned my head, staring at the old man with bloodshot, murderous eyes as I spoke. This is the very last time I will ever call you father. How the Liu family has treated me all these years, you know the truth better than anyone. I am not making some impossible demand. I just want my child. Is that really too much to ask? Your family cannot just hoard every single advantage for yourselves. Look at it realistically, it will be harder for your daughter to remarry with a kid dragging her down. So why the hell are you fighting me for him? Right at that moment, my mother-in-law shrieked at the top of her lungs once more. Listen here, Shang, Yuan is never going anywhere with you. Stop dreaming your delusional little pipe dreams, because that boy isn't even your biological son. If you don't believe me, go get a DNA test yourself. As those words hit me like a sudden, devastating bolt of lightning, I scrambled toward Lu Ruyan, desperate for answers, hoping that the woman I had shared my life with for years would give me the real truth. Ruyan, your mother is lying, isn't she? Yuan is my son, right? Tell me he is. However, all I received was Liu Ruyan's cold, heartless gaze. Whether he is your son or not, don't you have even the slightest clue? It has been so many years already, Shang Yang. Can you stop being so pathetically naive? With that, she sprinted into the study to rummage through files, then marched back and threw a piece of paper directly in my face. See for yourself. When the boy was only a year and a half old, I already had a paternity test done. The results are all right there. Go ahead, take a long, hard look. Fine. So you are not even trying to hide this disgusting betrayal anymore, are you? It seems my constant endurance in the past has given this woman, some serious delusions. But for some strange reason, after hearing Lu Ruyan's cold confirmation, I suddenly felt a massive weight lift off my shoulders. I didn't even bother to glance at that paternity. I did not report them. Not out of fear, but because it was pointless. From this moment on, I can strike back without hesitation. This entire family has officially lost their safety net. Now, I will teach them what real despair feels like. The next morning, Lu Ruyan was desperate to sign the divorce papers. But the law requires a 30-day cooling-off period. Yes, a 33-day wait. But I had all the time in the world to finish this. By the time the paperwork was done, it was already 8 p.m. Finally split from her, I began searching the house for the hidden cameras I had set up long ago. I had suspected her strange behavior for months. Catching her red-handed earlier today was just a scene in my play. A play I had been directing. Still, even the best plans have flaws. The shocking truth that my son was not biologically mine was a twist I never saw coming. For 29 grueling days, I stayed holed up in that apartment. With a face now covered in rough, heavy stubble, I spent every single second preparing my next move. Finally, on the 30th day, I calmly dialed Lu Ruyan's number. Her cold, emotionless voice buzzed through the receiver, telling me never to contact her again. I whispered back that I had just sent her a video. The moment those words were delivered with crystal clarity, I immediately cut the connection, ending her lecture. Annoyed, Lu Ruyan opened the file. A split second later, her entire body began to shake. Luckily for her, she kept her phone on silent, saving her from total social ruin in front of her students. The clip captured her and her lover in an intimate embrace, filmed from every possible angle without any blind spots. An icy chill rushed down her spine as she tried to suppress her fury. She fired back a text. Shang Yang, what are you doing? Do you know this is illegal? A predatory smirk spread across my face as I read her message, and I typed back. Come home tonight, we have some things to discuss. Of course, you can ignore me and stay away. The choice is yours. I ignored whatever frantic response she sent next. I shut down my phone. Since it was still early, I went to the market for steak and fine red wine. Tonight, I am preparing one last candlelight dinner for my wife, recreating the exact same atmosphere from the day I proposed. At 6 in the evening, Lu Ruyan marched through the door, pale and furious. Seeing her, I flashed a welcoming smile and said, "Go wash up first, I will pour the wine." Lu Ruyan shot back with pure disdain. You think this little performance is going to move me or make me feel like I owe you anything? I have had an exhausting day, so stop wasting my time. Wash your hands first, we will talk after dinner. My voice was firm and authoritative. Left with no other choice, Liu Ruyan reluctantly turned and headed toward the bathroom. I walked straight to the table, pulled a small pill from my pocket, and dropped it into her crystal glass. Then, I poured the breathing red wine. A real man knows when to be ruthless. Mercy is for the weak, and tonight, I collect my interest. Under the dim, flickering glow of the candles, Liu Ruyan looked at me with pure contempt. Enough already, she sneered. Just name your price and tell me your conditions. Honey, look how far I have fallen in your eyes. Let us start with a toast for our final dinner together. Hearing this, Liu Ruyan swallowed her disgust and downed the entire glass of wine. Do not even dream about getting the house, and the savings are gone. If you want something else, spit it out right now, do not waste my time. As for the property and assets, I truly have no interest in them. The person you should really be worried about is Yuan's real father, that Night Shadow character. The moment those words left my lips, her glass shattered, and Liu Ruyan lunged forward across the table. Her face contorted into a hideous feral mask as she screamed like a maniac. Shang Yang, shut your filthy mouth, if you say another word, I will rip it open. Hearing that, I burst into a fit of hysterical laughter. That is genuinely hilarious. I mocked her. My dearest wife, have you seen how absolutely revolting you look right now? Humiliation turned her face a deep crimson, but shortly after, a heavy drowsiness washed over her. As I watched Liu Ruyan struggle against her drooping eyelids, I wore a chilling smile as I slowly approached and wrapped my arms around her. Fighting through the fog of sleep, she snarled with what little strength she had left. Get your filthy hands off me, get away from me. But her voice grew weaker with every passing second, and within minutes, she drifted into a deep, heavy sleep. I tossed her onto the bed, then reached into her pocket for her phone. After using her face to unlock it, I opened her social media apps. I was met with countless class groups and professional chats. Her background was flawless. A graduate from a prestigious 985 university, with a professor father and a retired executive mother, she had lived up to those high expectations. At just 28 years old, she was already a prominent counselor at Huanan University. But none of those glittering achievements matter anymore. I mass sent the video to every single contact, except for two specific people. One was her gym rat and the other was a certain student of hers. Exactly as I expected, the group chats immediately erupted into absolute chaos. By tomorrow morning, if not the entire country, then at the very least throughout Linhai City, Liu Ruyan will be the most famous socialite in town. I looked at my wife sleeping soundly like an angel, already imagining the look of pure horror on her face when she wakes up. Suddenly, Liu Ruyan's phone buzzed. I saw a message from one of her students. Counselor, are you busy? What a pathetic little simp. From the moment I first saw him, I knew he was a beta male king of the friend zone. Even at this hour, he is still sending these pathetic, brain-dead texts. Looking at their chat history, the volume of messages is endless. The poor guy was hooked and played like a total fool, but I have no time for a low-tier simp. Instead, I opened the chat with her lover, Wang Tianyang. I bet he has absolutely no clue that he is about to become the most infamous man in Linhai City. I messaged him to stir the pot. Not asleep yet? His reply flashed instantly. It is still early, I am at the gym working out. Miss me already, babe? Seeing him take the bait, I smirked and typed back. In your dreams, I am her husband, and we need to talk. Babe, this is not a funny joke, you know. He followed it with a nauseatingly flirty emoji. It was glaringly obvious that Wang Tianyang did not believe for a second that Liu Ruyan was with me. Do I look like I am joking? We will have our divorce certificates by tomorrow morning. Tonight is our final night as a married couple. Do not worry, after tonight, she is all yours. Noticing his sudden silence, I sent him the photo I had just snapped. My bad, I might have played a bit too hard, but it is already midnight. From now on, she is all yours. On the other end, Wang Tianyang stared at the photo feeling like 10,000 ants were crawling on his skin. The sheer humiliation was suffocating. Tonight was destined to be a nightmare for him. While I drifted off to sleep, I fell back into a peaceful, satisfied sleep. My goal was ruthlessly achieved. If I cannot have happiness, then we can all burn together in the wreckage. Early the next morning, the moment Ruin opened her eyes, she scrambled for her phone. Watching her panic, I said with cold indifference, "You got wasted last night. Your phone fell into the water and is completely dead." Ruin stared at me in absolute disbelief. What the hell actually happened last night? Where is my phone? I know for a fact, I left it in my pocket. I told her to just calm down. Calm down? How can I calm down? She snapped. She had absolutely zero memory of anything I was describing. You are lying to me, aren't you? Her instincts were screaming that something was horribly wrong, yet she could not put her finger on it. Are you really so sure you were not wasted last night? My question left her completely stumped. She remembered having 2 glasses of wine before her head started spinning. The rest was a total blackout. Faced with my intense questioning at this very moment, She truly did not have a single word to fire back. Seeing her look so dazed and confused, I pressed on. Are you stalling for time? Do not tell me you are getting cold feet about our divorce. I do not have all day. Your phone is on the balcony drying in the sun. Check it all you want. Once we get back, everything in this place will be yours anyway. Ruyan snatched her bag in a huff and stormed out of the house first. A few hours later, we held our crimson divorce certificates. My marriage with Ruyan had officially hit a dead end, and almost at that exact instant, a voice like a system prompt echoed in my mind. It announced, "Congratulations to the host for a successful divorce. You have been awarded a life winner fund of $3.6 million. I immediately pulled out my phone to check my banking app. Sure enough, a deposit of exactly $3.6 million had mysteriously appeared. But before I could even process this insane turn of events, I was suddenly swarmed by the entire Liu clan, young and old. Gazing at this aggressive, menacing crowd, I kept a face of pure indifference. It was Ruyan who seemed lost and confused. She had no idea she was already the most famous woman in the city. Mom, what is wrong? Uncle, what are you doing here? My mother-in-law, her face twisting with malice, glared at her daughter's dazed expression. She knew deep down this was all my doing. At that moment, Ruyan's cousin stealthily pulled her to the side, whipping out her phone and pointing frantically at the screen. In an instant, Ruyan's face flushed a deep, sickly crimson. She lifted her head, her gaze dripping with venomous hatred, and screamed my name, Shang Yang. I met her gaze with a look of pure, harmless innocence. What is the matter? Is something wrong? I flashed my pearly whites, giving her the most brilliant and mocking smile I could muster. Blinded by a surge of rage, Ruyan hissed through gritted teeth. Shang Yang, you had better watch your back. I am not done. I will see you in court. Hearing that, I called out to the surrounding Liu clan vultures. Lawyer Zhang, you have been standing there long enough, haven't you? Why don't you step up and say a few words in my defense? The second I finished speaking, a man in a sharp suit and spectacles stepped right up to me. He declared with absolute composure, Zhang Yunkun from Huachin Law Firm, I represent my client in the asset dispute between the Liu family and Shang Yang. We are officially filing a lawsuit for the division of marital property. Here are the power of attorney documents and the formal contract. If any of you feel the need, you are welcome to review them. Ruyan now looked as if she wanted to tear me limb from limb. Have you completely lost your mind? Are you so desperate for cash that you have gone insane? What right do you have to touch my property? Lawyer, you see this, right? She snapped. If not for our family's pity and kindness, nobody would even acknowledge a loser like him. You are a smart man, surely you see the truth. Look at him, dressed like a total pauper. Getting involved with a loser like this will only drag your reputation through the mud. I let out a sharp laugh and cut her off, radiating absolute calm. Are you finished with your tantrum? Because now it is my turn to speak. I will get straight to the point. I am officially instructing Mr. Zhang here to sue Ruyan for her illegal concealment and transfer of marital assets. As our lead legal representative for this upcoming litigation, do you all finally understand the situation? My former mother-in-law could not bear another second of this, shrieking at the top of her lungs. Shut up, you think you can bully us? Is the Liu family some pushover? Exactly, sis, do not let this loser intimidate you. Just give us the word right here, right now and tell us which of his limbs you want us to snap. A middle-aged man began to bluster like a street thug. However, my former mother-in-law's face was already turning deathly pale. Even Ruyan herself wore a grim, silent expression, not daring to utter another word. The rest of the Liu clan quickly sensed the shift in the air, and one by one, they all shut their traps. After all, they only showed up today to flex and look tough. If real trouble actually required action, they would be as quiet as tiny quails. Now, it was my turn to point a finger in anger at the whole clan. I suggest all of you get the hell out of here immediately. What are you even doing, making a mess? Haven't you guys embarrassed yourselves enough already? You little brat, you clearly, that middle-aged man's ego was bruised. What about me? I am talking to you, the one who does nothing but shout all day. All bark, and absolutely no bite. That is the final straw. An older woman was the first to lunge out, pointing a finger in my face while screaming insults. Suddenly, a sharp, thunderous crack echoed through the air. My sudden slap left the entire crowd paralyzed with shock. After delivering that blow, I casually massaged my aching palm. Clutching her stinging cheek, she glared at me with wide, furious eyes, and shrieked. You arrogant, disrespectful little piece of trash. Before she could even finish her sentence, an even louder, crisper slap rang out through the air. What are you still whining about over there? I have calculated the cost for you. 1 slap is 100,000 bucks. 2 slaps, and I will hand over 200,000 right now, though you are always free to call the cops instead. Radiating an aura of lawless arrogance, I felt like I had undergone a total metamorphosis. That bone-deep confidence radiating from my soul did not look like something a broke, divorced loser should possess. But that is the sheer, Intoxicating power of money. You? Having money? 100,000 per slap? Stop acting like a big shot with your nose in the air. You are just making a fool of yourself. You are not escaping the police station today, brat. The middle-aged man finally found his voice and bellowed, driven by the fact that his own wife just got schooled. I let out a scoff, pulled out my phone, and said with impatience, "Unlock your phone. I will scan your code and pay you on the spot. Remember, you asked for this. If you can actually pocket this much cash from 2 slaps, I will consider the matter settled." You will consider it settled? Keep acting tough while you still can. With a crisp ping, the transfer completed instantly. Alipay has received a payment of 200,000 yuan. Ruyan stared at me, her eyes widening in sheer disbelief. Actually, it was not just her. Everyone was floored. 200,000 yuan is not pocket change. They never imagined someone would actually drop that kind of cash just to settle a grudge. Alright, everyone get lost, the show is over, so disperse. Haven't you embarrassed yourselves enough? After pocketing the 200,000 yuan, the middle-aged man still felt like he was in a surreal dream. Fine, dear relatives and friends, I sincerely thank you for coming to back up our Ruyan. But this is no place for a long talk. I will thank you all properly later. It is getting late, and you have all worked hard today. My ex-father-in-law, a retired professor, valued his reputation above everything else. He had already lost massive face today, and desperately wanted this nightmare to end. Fine, we will head back for now and stay in touch. Do not you dare let this kid get the upper hand. With that, the Liu family scattered like a swarm of startled hornets. Liu Ruyan's mother had not uttered a single word. I knew exactly why she suddenly went completely mute. That old gambling addict deserves every bit of this. For 3 years, I have known that my mother-in-law spent her days at the mahjong table. A gambling addict, unless they lose a limb or go completely bankrupt, will never stop their downward spiral. Over the years, she did not just blow through her husband's retirement funds, she used our names as collateral to rack up massive gambling debts. Our house was even transferred to her name a year ago. I had a massive blowout with Liu Ruyan back then, but the outcome was painfully obvious. I could not win against the combined force of her family, and the deed eventually ended up in my ex-mother-in-law's hands. Otherwise, I would not have surrendered our assets so easily. Honestly, I have been waiting for this exact day. I wanted to ensure Liu Ruyan's reputation was utterly incinerated, not just cause a mental breakdown. I wanted to systematically dismantle this entire family financially. If they thought they could make me a cuckold for free, they were dead wrong. Liu Ruyan, at this moment, had reverted to her usual arrogant and defiant self. Shang Yang, I think it is time we had a real heart-to-heart about our relationship. She had always played the part of the haughty, untouchable swan. Even with her life in shambles, she refused to bow her supposedly noble head. I responded with nothing but cold indifference. Oh, what could we possibly have left to discuss? I seem to recall someone telling me never to contact them again. Liu Ruyan instantly erupted into a fit of rage. What is the meaning of those disgusting videos, though? I have not even begun to settle that score with you yet. Do not think spreading rumors is not a crime. You have severely violated my right to privacy. I immediately played dumb, putting on a puzzled act. What videos? What on earth are you talking about? Seeing my shameless loser attitude, Liu Ruyan ground her teeth so hard they nearly shattered. You absolute piece of trash, I must have been blind back then to waste so many years of my life with a creature like you. If I knew you were this kind of lowlife, I would have preferred to stay single forever. She spat those words with such venomous resentment that I actually burst out laughing. Right, you are absolutely correct. You definitely picked the wrong man back then. But if you ask me, it was not just your eyes that failed you. Your planning was also incredibly sloppy. Since we were once husband and wife, I sincerely advise you to keep that nonsense to yourself in public. Seriously, do not go around spouting that garbage unless you want to become the laughingstock of the entire city. Your skin is truly thicker than the city walls, is it not? You really are nothing but a shameless, delusional lunatic. Liu Ruyan opened her mouth to spit another wave of insults, but her father stepped in and unceremoniously dragged her away. Once he had shoved the mother and daughter into the safety of the car, my ex-father-in-law sauntered back toward me with a heavy gait. He lowered his voice and said, "Xiang, you are not too busy today, are you? How about coming back to the house with us? I think it is for the best if we settle everything face to face." I met his gaze with a flat, hollow response. "I think I will pass, uncle. There is absolutely nothing left for us to talk about. We will let the legal system handle the rest from here. I do not have the energy to waste on this drama anymore. You are a live-in son-in-law, too. The misery and humiliation I have endured all these years, I know for a fact, you witnessed every bit of it. As for exhausting what is left of our sentiments, I truly have nothing more to say." That one word, uncle, completely shattered the old man's illusions. Being a highly educated intellectual, he understood the situation more clearly than anyone. Persisting further was just a waste of breath. Fine, Shang. Over these past years, the Liu family truly, We truly failed you. Whatever you decide to do from now on, just go for it. As of today, you are finally free." Before I could even respond to his apology, the old man turned away, his back hunched as he vanished. The next morning, while I was still deep in sleep, the jarring ring of my phone jolted me awake. It was a call from the local police department. After listening, I flashed a grim smile and told the officer, "Thank you so much, officer. I honestly had no idea this had happened yet." I immediately headed up to the station. The moment I arrived, I saw my ex-mother-in-law acting like a feral shrew, thrashing and rolling around on the floor. The female officer trying to reason with her looked utterly disgusted. You can only imagine just how revolting this old woman's behavior truly was. When my ex-father-in-law spotted me entering the room, he rushed over with tears streaming down his withered face, and grabbed my sleeve with a desperate, trembling grip. "Xiao Shang, please, you have to talk some sense into Ruyan. She is the only daughter I have left in this world." I stared back with cold, detached indifference. "Do not get your blood pressure up just yet. Go take a seat over there and stay out of the way." Then, I turned my head and barked at the woman nearby. "Hey, you, stop rolling around on the floor like a common street thug. My schedule is tight today, so if you have something to say, spit it out now." My ex-mother-in-law glared at my calm composure, her teeth gnashing in fury. "You cold-blooded monster, you have utterly ruined our entire family." Hearing that, I shot back with a thunderous, sharp rebuke. "What kind of absolute garbage are you spewing? How exactly does any of this have anything to do with me? I only came here to deliver a formal notice to your clan. Just moments ago, the court officially accepted my lawsuit against you, so get ready to cough up the house, the car, and every single cent of those savings." I finished my piece and turned to leave immediately, without a single hint of hesitation or lingering regret. Seeing that her humiliating performance had failed, and realizing it did not have the slightest impact on me, the old hag knew clinging to me was a lost cause. She suddenly lunged and grabbed the young policewoman's leg, howling out her desperate, fake grievances. "Officer, please, you have to give me justice. This heartless brat is trying to drive us to our graves. My daughter's life is hanging by a thread today." The policewoman, left with no other choice, called out to stop me. "We asked you to come here today because we need your help to save a life. You should at least try to talk to your ex-wife. Saving a life is the greatest virtue. Is there really nothing that can be settled through calm discussion?" This officer clearly had no clue about the sordid history behind this mess. Feeling a wave of weary frustration, I replied helplessly, "Fine, since the law is asking so nicely, I guess I will give it a shot. But do not blame me if my words do not work. By the way, do you happen to have a megaphone handy? The wind is howling up there, and I would hate for her to miss a single word I have to say." Seeing that I had finally relented, the female officer looked immensely relieved, promptly handing me a megaphone without a second thought. None of them noticed the subtle, sinister flicker of amusement dancing across my face. Once that megaphone was firmly in my grip, my true performance officially began. "Honey, please do not do anything reckless. Our son and I have never held a grudge against you. Even if that boy is not actually my own flesh and blood. Throughout all these years, I have always cherished him as my very own. Those surveillance videos were leaked by someone with a malicious agenda. I mean, what kind of rational human being would install 360-degree cameras all over their private home?" Hearing my consoling words, my ex-mother-in-law stood there absolutely shell-shocked, staring at me in horror. She never imagined that even with her daughter threatening suicide, I would actually dare to provoke Lu Ruyan with such explosive revelations. The old woman scrambled to her feet, instantly screeching at the top of her lungs, "Do not listen to a single word of this man's filthy lies. This bastard is trying to push my daughter off." Up on that ledge, the howling rooftop wind was just too violent. No one could hear a single word of her frantic protests. Lu Ruyan, who had been keeping her back to me, suddenly spun around, glaring at me with a blank, terrifying intensity. Her once beautiful eyes overflowed with pure, toxic venom. The entire Lu clan had conspired to hatch this desperate plan, thinking they could force me into total submission. But they never expected that the guy they saw as a spineless loser wouldn't fall for their manipulative trap for a single second. Things had completely spiraled out of the Lu family's control, veering wildly from their carefully written script. They could have brushed off the leaked videos as deepfakes, but now I had exposed the absolute truth about the child's paternity. In that moment, Lu Ruyan realized she had drastically miscalculated. It never crossed her mind in her wildest dreams that I had zero intention of compromising from the start. My objective had always been crystal clear: to crush her soul and break her spirit completely. I was going to ruin her life and leave her with nothing. Yet, while my voice sounded full of righteous indignation and desperate pleas, the look on my face remained as cold and biting as ice. Despite the distance of several stories between us, I could still clearly hear the explosive roar of the crowd below as the scandal unfolded. Seizing the moment, I cranked up the megaphone volume and continued to bellow. "I don't care if the kid isn't biologically mine, and I don't give a damn how many men you've slept with. All I want is for you to come back to me. When you demanded a divorce, I begged on my hands and knees. I pleaded with every single elder in your family, hoping they would speak up on my behalf, but not one of them would listen to a word I said. My years of devotion couldn't even compete with her cheap thrills. Absolutely shameless. What a total disgrace, and she calls herself a teacher. People say true love is about sacrifice, I shouted. You said you didn't love me anymore, that you craved your freedom, so I chose to grant you that wish, the car, the house. I left it all to you. I even let you keep full custody of the child. Everyone calls me a fool for doing it, but I know in my heart I'm no idiot. I just wanted you to have a better life. But even after all that, you were still discarded and hurt by the deadbeat lover Ruyan. I'm begging you, think of the child, don't do anything reckless, please. With that, I lowered the megaphone, smirking as I watched Lu Ruyan standing there, completely paralyzed. Meanwhile, the crowd below erupted into a chaotic storm of gossip. You bastard, you absolute monster, my ex-mother-in-law shrieked at me. She looked like she wanted to skin me alive and feast on my flesh. In the end, they had utterly lost the war. The desperate suicide stunt this mother and daughter cooked up was completely dismantled by my little performance. Furthermore, in those few short minutes, I had successfully dumped 3 more buckets of filth straight onto Lu Ruyan's head. She was insatiably greedy, a serial cheater who tried to steal every single asset, and the child I had raised for years was actually some random bastard seed. To top off the disgust, I framed her as jumping only because her scumbag lover had dumped her. Suddenly, a thunderous roar of ridicule exploded from below. Hearing the crowd's mockery, Lu Ruyan's face turned ghostly pale, and her entire body began to sway violently on the edge. By now, I was only a few measly steps away. Lu Ruyan gazed at the man she once shared a bed with, bitter realization flooding her soul. In this moment, my eyes held no trace of warmth or mercy. There was only cold-blooded apathy and an endless, abyssal hatred. Suddenly, a violent gust of wind swept across the roof. Lu Ruyan, her frail 90-pound frame trembling, lost her balance. Her legs simply gave way, and right before the horrified eyes of the massive crowd, she plummeted straight off the edge. She actually jumped. The onlookers below shrieked in absolute terror. I stared at the empty space on the rooftop, feeling a momentary slip in my composure. But I snapped out of it instantly. That wench being alive was nothing but a permanent stain on my life. Several officers immediately swarmed the rooftop, but a young policewoman whirled around in a rage and grabbed my collar. You're not going anywhere. She was finally calming down until you showed up. Yumi Kawada, it's because of your provocations that she lost control. Do you even hear this garbage? I stared at the officer with pure unadulterated disbelief. What the hell does that have to do with me? She chose to take the leap. It's not like I shoved her. Upon hearing my cold rebuttal, the policewoman's eyes widened in shock. You are absolutely heartless. Let me tell you, if your wife dies today, you'll be held fully responsible for this mess. That woman doesn't have a damn thing to do with me. We finalized the divorce papers this morning. I haven't even filed them yet. Now move, I have better things to do. While we were locked in that tense standoff, the ambulance had already sped away. The building was only about 5 stories high, technically more like 4.5 levels. It wasn't a fatal height by any means, especially since the fire department deployed an air cushion. I figured there was an 80% chance the bitch was still breathing. My ex-mother-in-law was now completely catatonic, slumped on the ground in a heap of despair. She stared vacantly at the sky with dead, hollow eyes, surrounded by weary-looking officers. My ex-father-in-law had already scrambled into the ambulance to the hospital. I knew deep down that this farce was actually just getting started. The viral scandal of Lu Ruyan's infidelity would likely reach its absolute peak of notoriety by tonight. I'm dying to see how she plans on keeping her job after this. Lu Ruyan might be shameless, but a prestigious institution like Southeast University has standards. I bet they will issue a notice claiming she was just a temporary worker to sever all ties as cleanly as possible. If you don't pull weeds out by the roots, they will just grow back stronger. Even a child understands that basic logic, and naturally, I understand it better than anyone. As for Lu Ruyan, her situation was utterly pathetic. Falling from 4.5 stories onto a rescue cushion, she managed to survive with her life intact, but a shattered leg was the inevitable price she had to pay. They say you might escape death, but you can't outrun the suffering of your crimes. The real torment for Lu Ruyan was the psychological trauma. She had zero clues on how to escape this self-made hell, especially with the university leaders already cornering her ward door. In the fleeting moment, she plummeted from the roof. 20+ years of her life flashed before her eyes in seconds, spinning through her mind like a tragic revolving lantern. She had been born into a life of privilege. Her father was a respected professor, her mother a high-ranking executive at a state enterprise, and her sister, the golden child. If it weren't for the appearance of that one man, Lu Ruyan's life would never have spiraled into this humiliating abyss. Even thinking of me now, no amount of regret will change anything. The man she dismissed as a harmless, honest guy for years had finally chosen to sever ties once and for all. Teacher Lu. I realize bringing this up now seems incredibly cold-hearted, but I hope you can grasp the impossible position the school is in. The fallout from this scandal is simply too toxic. I'm sure you wouldn't want Southeast University's reputation dragged through the mud. Director Wang sighed heavily as he shut the door behind him. Lu Ruyan wasn't stupid, his meaning was clear. She knew exactly why he had shown up today. I understand your predicament, Director Wang. I'm the one who brought shame to the school, and I am prepared to accept whatever disciplinary action is necessary. Seeing Lu Ruyan being so unexpectedly reasonable, Director Wang's face actually flickered with a hint of surprise. This was a complete departure from the woman he thought he knew. Ruyan, when you first joined this faculty, how could you be so reckless? There is no point in lecturing you anymore. I just hope you will comply with the university's final decision. I have urgent matters at the office, so I am leaving. Just focus on your recovery. Take care, Director. The moment Director Wang left and she was finally alone, Lu Ruyan felt the bitter sting of how quickly the world turns its back on you. Meanwhile, having finally shaken off the swarming crowd of student onlookers, I stood on the street corner and lit a cigarette, carefully mapping out my next move in this chess game. Thinking it over, I realized I could not act too heartless just yet. It would totally clash with my carefully crafted pure love warrior persona. So, I put on my best acting mask and dialed my former father-in-law. Uncle, are you busy? What do you want? The old man's tone was icy, a far cry from how he used to call me Shang Yang. But that was natural. No one is friendly to the man who supposedly drove their daughter to leap off a roof. The old man was actually showing a lot of restraint. Uncle, I heard Ruyan accidentally fell from the building. Is the injury severe? Which hospital is she in right now? I need to go see her. After all, we were once husband and wife. The line went silent for a few heavy seconds before the old man's raspy voice crackled through. Ruyan is out of danger, but her leg is badly fractured. She is at Linhai First People's Hospital. A broken leg, huh? In that case, I must pay her a visit. Which ward is she in? Inpatient department, 8th floor, room 8012. Got it, I will let you go. I am heading over right now. I cannot believe that wretched woman got off with just one broken leg. I bet that in less than an hour, Ruyan's hospital room will be packed with unwanted guests. A wicked, mischievous grin spread across my face. Once I arrived at the hospital, I made a beeline straight for Lu Ruyan's room. Just as I predicted, the nurses had already bolted the door shut, but a massive, restless horde was swarming outside. Dozens of them were lugging professional cameras, while others frantically filmed with their phones. In this era of viral social media, everyone thinks they are a god-tier streamer. Lu Ruyan is officially globally infamous now. But for me, this is the ultimate windfall. My next move is to weaponize her toxic reputation. The more her name is dragged through the dirt, the greater my rewards become. Excuse me, let me through. My voice was instantly swallowed by the roaring noise, forcing me to bellow at the top of my lungs. Everyone clear a path, I am Lu Ruyan's ex-husband, here to visit. Instantly, every pair of eyes in the 8th floor corridor locked onto me, including the nurses at the duty desk. The legendary ex-husband has returned to the battlefield. Listen up, my stream viewers, the real show is finally about to begin. The pure love warrior actually showed up. Can you even believe this? I am literally crying right now. Hearing these colorful, chaotic shouts, my forehead practically lined with pure annoyance. What kind of circus had I walked into? In an instant, the crowd lunged toward me like a pack of wolves. Thankfully, hospital security arrived just in time to maintain order. After an exhausting struggle through the sea of bodies, I finally squeezed into Lu Ruyan's hospital room. But the second I pushed the door open, I froze in shock. Ruyan stared at me, her face twisted in pure agony, and then she completely lost control of her bladder. I am dead serious, she actually wet herself the moment I breached the room. The once cowering, deathly silent Lu Ruyan was so traumatized by my sudden intrusion that her body gave out. A stream of yellowish liquid began trickling down her hospital trousers. Her pristine patient gown was instantly stained and soaked, and accompanied by a shriek that could rival the highest soprano notes of Jesse Norman, Ruyan's legs turned to jelly as she collapsed into a dead faint on the floor. When humans are plunged into absolute, paralyzing terror, they often pass out involuntarily. It is not a physical illness, but a total mental breakdown. It is simply the brain triggering a self-protection mechanism. It was painfully obvious that Lu Ruyan, a woman obsessed with her image, was now exposed in the most repulsive way before the cameras. No wonder her mind just checked out. Click. 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 The vultures outside were like flies around roadkill, frantically snapping photos of the wreckage. Even I felt tempted to mark her downfall by crossing my heart and whispering a mocking amen. She is truly beyond saving now. But after savoring the schadenfreude, the show had to go on. The second Lu Ruyan hit the deck, I lunged forward like a concerned hero, scooping her up. As for why I did not shield her when she fell, the official excuse is that I was paralyzed with shock, my brain unable to process it. But the unofficial truth is far simpler. I purely wanted Ruyan's humiliating, undignified collapse to be immortalized in as many high-resolution photos as possible. My smirk was harder to suppress than an AK's recoil, leaving my face locked in a bizarre, twisted expression. I was dying to laugh but forced to hold it back, struggling to maintain a mask of deep concern. It was pure psychological torture. Just as I was striking a dramatic pose for the reporters, the security guards barged in at the worst possible time. They did not just clear the room of clicking cameras, they slammed the door in the crowd's face. Once I was sure the hallway was finally clear, I tossed Lu Ruyan onto the floor with total disgust. Gazing down with absolute coldness, I spat, "Cut the act. The audience is gone. Isn't the floor getting a bit chilly? Shang Yang, do you really want me dead that badly? Oh, you finally caught on, didn't you? Since the cat is out of the bag, I'll say it loud and clear. I want to watch your world burn until there is nothing left. Every waking second, I dream of it." Hearing it out loud is a different pain entirely. Even though Ruyan knew I despised her, she never imagined my hatred was this lethal. As our venomous words hung in the air, my former father-in-law and a nurse rushed in. I instantly pivoted back to a mask of agonizing heartbreak. Ignoring Lu Ruyan's desperate attempts to push me away, I forced my way in and hoisted her onto the hospital bed. Throughout the entire ordeal, she resisted like a caged beast, but her struggling was utterly futile. "Get away from me. If you touch me again, I will end my life right in front of you." "Oh, Ruyan, I know your leg is already shattered. Why must you still be so stubborn? The doctor explicitly warned us that you must not move around." The old man watched, his lips quivering for a fleeting moment, yet he remained silent. Ruyan's face flushed a humiliated crimson as she lay trapped on the bed. "Here, have some fruit. I know my presence is the last thing you want to see. I will leave now." Exiting the ward, I headed straight home. Exhausted from the chaos, I showered and crashed instantly. The next morning at 5 a.m., sleep eluded me completely. Restless, I drove to my son's kindergarten, waiting like a predator to intercept the boy who is not my flesh and blood. Humans are not made of stone. We are not devoid of feelings. Even though my ex-mother-in-law had monopolized him since birth, I had still played his father's role for several years. I held no malice toward the child. The only one at fault was his shameless, disgraceful mother. There was a breakfast stall next to the school, so I grabbed a quick bite. After finishing my meal, since it was early, I wandered aimlessly for 30 minutes. Hesitation gnawed at my gut. The kid might not share my DNA, but I was the one he called Papa with his very first breath. Was I being an absolute monster? Slap, slap. Realizing my mindset was getting dangerously weak, I ruthlessly delivered 2 stinging blows right in my own face. "You weak, spineless fool. I have been cuckolded this entire time, and the boy I cherished is just another man's mistake." In a mess like this, the fact that I haven't grabbed a knife to settle the score with the whole Lu family is pure mercy. Yet, here I am, actually feeling a tiny spark of pity. If that is not the absolute height of stupidity, I do not know what is. Shaking off those pathetic, weak feelings of pity, my eyes went cold and sharp. I whipped out my phone and quickly dialed Yang Hai, the undisputed king of viral live streaming in our city. "Hey, are you even awake yet, Mr. Shang? What is so urgent this early in the morning?" Yang Hai was still buried under his blankets, squinting through blurry eyes at the incoming call. He looked at the time on his screen, realizing it was not even 7 a.m. Though he was cursing me in his head, his voice stayed polite and professional. He had no choice, really. The guy waking him up was his biggest moneymaker. I told him to quickly get 2 of his low-tier, unknown streamers down to Shanghai Kindergarten, a highly exclusive and expensive school. Its prestige was mostly just reflected in the insane tuition costs. I told him to have them follow the GPS and get here. "Can you make it happen within an hour? I am in a massive rush. School starts at 8 sharp. If we miss that window, this beautiful show will not happen." He said he could find the people, but asked what I was planning so early. I told him he would find out once they arrive. I do not have time to explain the details right now. He agreed, promising they would be on site in 30 minutes. Yang Hai sounded completely confident about delivering, even if those 2 probably wanted to slap him for the early wake-up call. Smoking a cigarette, I endured a brutal 50-minute wait before finally spotting 2 shady-looking characters among the crowd of parents. One had hair dyed an ugly shade of dark green, while the other wore makeup so thick it looked like a mask. They stood out like bright neon signs, practically begging for attention, right in the middle of the crowd. I could barely look at these 2 weirdos. Yang Hai had already sent me their contact info, and I had texted them the full plan earlier. Now, all we had to do was wait for my ex-wife's mother and the kid. The clock kept ticking toward 8. After what felt like ages, I finally spotted the old hag. She was holding Yuan's hand, shuffling slowly through the crowd toward the entrance. A 4-year-old child is pure innocence. The moment he spotted me from a distance, the little guy immediately broke free from his grandmother and ran straight toward me, throwing his arms around me. He cried, "Daddy, I missed you so much, I smiled. Hey there, champ, I missed you too. Then he begged me to lift him up high. This was the same little boy I had held since the day he was born. Saying my heart did not ache would be a massive lie. Looking at this innocent child, I felt a sharp, bitter sting behind my eyes. I forced a warm smile and lifted him high. Meanwhile, this emotional scene was being filmed by those two weirdos lurking in the crowd, broadcasting every single second live. At 8 in the morning, the viewer count started slow, but you can never underestimate how fast a bored online mob gathers. Word spread like wildfire, shared from person to person. Within minutes, the live viewer count for both channels surged past 1,000, easily hitting 4 figures in no time. They did not even need paid ads. People were swarming in to watch the drama. The headline about a university professor cheating with a fitness coach was already pure gold on its own. But add the chaotic scandals that followed, like the dramatic rooftop suicide attempt and the shocking revelation that the kid is not even the husband's, and it becomes an absolute magnet for attention. Now, with a live stream showing the aftermath in real time, it was exactly what the gossip-hungry public wanted. The comment section immediately turned into a brutal battlefield of opinions. Two sides clashed and argued endlessly, pushing the stream straight to the top of the trending charts in Linhai City. One user commented that raising another man's kid is a waste of time. You will end up with no money, no legacy, just left to rot. Another user chimed in, agreeing and saying a guy in his neighborhood did the exact same thing, even choosing to adopt. Now that he is old, his life is completely miserable. But a user named Little Princess shot back, claiming they were heartless, since the young kid losing his dad would be tragic. Besides, even without blood relations, does that mean they are not family? Another user quickly snapped back, arguing that with zero biological connection, they are absolutely not family, period. And since when is the kid fatherless anyway? His real dad is still out there. I bet you are just like that cheating teacher, looking for some poor fool to take the fall. Little Princess replied, calling him an incel. The second those words appeared, the chat erupted into a full-blown war. The online gender divide is already a massive powder keg. With instigators fanning the flames, both sides fought with absolute fury, driving the stream metrics through the roof. Meanwhile, I stayed focused on my role, tearfully holding Yuan tight. The crowd of parents dropping off their kids suddenly noticed me standing there. One whispered, "Wait, is not that the pure love guy from the news? Is his kid really enrolled in our kindergarten?" A mom in flashy designer clothes started whispering the gossip to her friend. She said she was pretty sure the boy was in her child's class, shaking her head. "That poor little boy is so pitiful," she murmured. Modern schools focus heavily on parent-child bonding, so parents show up often. After enough of these events, everyone recognizes the other kids. The boy's name is Yuan, right? While I was performing my heart out, my ex-mother-in-law realized the kid had bolted. She spotted us quickly, but surprisingly, she did not step in. The old woman did not try to stop our reunion. Having spent years climbing the corporate ladder at a state-owned enterprise to reach middle management, she possessed a very cunning mind. To be completely honest, she was secretly terrified of the man I had become. The thought of the ruthless lawyer I hired terrified her, especially with her massive pile of gambling debt. If I managed to seize half the house and car, her life would be ruined. Her only remaining hope lay with her grandson, praying that I still felt some parental love and would not drive her into total ruin. Even as I played and laughed with the boy, my eyes kept daily darting toward my former mother-in-law. I noticed the old woman was acting suspicious, keeping her distance instead of starting a loud screaming match or trying to grab the child. I saw right through her pathetic little scheme in an instant. Since she refused to come to me, I decided to take the fight directly to her. There is an old saying, right? If the mountain will not come to Muhammad, then Muhammad goes to the mountain. Holding the boy's hand, I marched toward the old woman, my mind spinning with a ruthless strategy. I could not mention taking the child, or she would happily dump his care on my shoulders. I knew she would exploit the situation in a heartbeat. As I reached her, I struck first with a sharp, calculated verbal blow. "You old fossil, I am telling you for the last time. Do not you dare use this child to blackmail me. Not in a million years will I give you $200,000, I would not even give you 2 cents. The trick worked like a charm. The curious crowd immediately began drawing closer. I glanced at my stunned ex-mother-in-law, a tiny, dark smirk playing on my lips. If there is no drama for the cameras, I will just invent some. Nobody knows the truth anyway. "What are you talking about, you little brat?" she yelled. "What 200,000? Stop acting," I snapped back. "Oh, keep acting, go ahead. Which shameless trash called me yesterday demanding $200,000 in exchange? Think about the kid. Seriously, find a shred of decency. The boy is still so young, yet you treat him like a bargaining chip. Who in their right mind would ever trust leaving a child in the hands of someone like you?" After that rapid-fire barrage of accusations exploded from my mouth, the old woman stood there, completely stunned. But she quickly realized what was happening, that I was ruthlessly dragging her name through the mud. Unfortunately for her, even a quick realization was far too late. There is an ancient proverb, he who strikes first wins, while he who hesitates suffers the consequences. People always side with the first story they hear. My ex-mother-in-law was reaching her breaking point, driven mad by my talent for blatant fabrication, leaving her utterly defenseless and unable to justify herself. Who would even take her side at this point? Her own daughter was the one who cheated first. I have already seized the moral high ground. This is a perfectly justified crusade. When did I ever demand 200,000 from you? Do not believe a word he says. This little animal is nothing but a pathological liar. Unfortunately for her, we have reached the point of no return. No matter how much she rants and raves, the onlookers remain icy and unmoved. That is the brutal power of a first impression. Seeing every piece of the puzzle fall perfectly into place, I twisted the knife further with a chilling, mocking sneer. I am laying it all out on the table right now. I will find a way to reclaim custody of my son. As for the car and the house, I will use the courts to reclaim every single cent I am owed. Your pathetic attempts to hide assets won't save you or your daughter. Stop living in your delusional fantasy world. And here is my final warning to you. Yuan will never be raised by a degenerate gambler. All that money you squandered on your debts was gone long before this divorce was even a thought. You know damn well how much I paid to bail you out. You should have kept a better tally. Do not even dream of trying to blackmail me ever again. Completely crushed and speechless, my ex-mother-in-law could only gape at me in powerless frustration. She desperately wanted to fire back, but the words died in her throat before she could utter a single sound.